social media just makes it 10 times worse. You may want a relationship, but you don't need a relationship. If you think you're old enough to have sex, hey guys, welcome back to Our Family Nest. So this is going to be the first episode of my Ask Candi series, and to start out with episode 1, I'm actually going to answer questions that are from teenagers, or some are from college age students. And so it's going to kind of be the trending video that's been going around for a while now, questions that you're afraid to ask your mom. So I thought I would do that for episode 1, and then I already have a whole bunch of questions ready for episode number 2 that I received that are going to be more from like an adult age range. So thank you guys so much for sending in your questions. It's been, I want to say, a lot of fun receiving them because it is fun. I do enjoy this. However, it seems weird to say fun because there are a lot of really serious questions. So I appreciate you guys trusting me and asking for my feedback when it comes to some serious stuff you guys are dealing with. So I am getting ready to leave right now. I have some errands to run, and I'll be honest with you guys, I do my best thinking in my car or in the shower. I know some of you guys probably experience the exact same thing. However, I'm not going to talk to you guys while I'm in the shower, but I am going to talk to you guys while I'm in my car today. Ken's actually cutting grass too. I don't know if you can hear that in the background, but I was just getting ready to do the thumbnail for this video. What do you guys think? Glasses, do they make me look smarter? So I don't know why these are kind of like my go-to if I'm trying to look more intelligent. So does this look like a face that you'll trust? Anyways, guys, in all seriousness, I'm so excited for this first video, and we're gonna get started right now. All right, guys, I'm here in my car now, ready to answer your questions. I have them here on my phone. I do want to throw up the disclaimer that I don't ever want you guys to think that I am a licensed therapist or professional by any means. My advice, my opinions, my answers to your questions are never to like replace like true therapy or counseling if you feel that you need it. I don't think anyone should ever feel ashamed or embarrassed if they do need to seek out counseling. I've had counseling before. There's a family member in our household right now going to counseling. So it is something that's been part of our lives as the years have gone on, and I don't, like I said, want anybody to ever think that like, you know, my advice and thoughts on your questions and stuff should be like the end all be all. It's just my opinion based on my own life experiences and things that I've gone through, raising my own kids, etc., etc. So here we go. We're going to jump into the first question. It says, hi Candi, this isn't a relationship question, but since you are a mom, I thought I should ask. I've struggled with eating disorders in the past, and I'm now struggling with anxiety. I guess due to the lack of help I got when I was sick. I really don't want to worry my mom telling her, and I also am really scared to tell her, but it just keeps getting worse, and I really don't know how to tell her. So first of all, when it comes to anything related to an eating disorder, I would suggest getting help, professional help, starting with talking with your parents, possibly then going to your pediatrician or your family doctor, whoever you see, like when you have medical issues, only because it is a disease. And I know people hate the term disease because they're like, you know, don't want to think of it as that they have something serious. It's kind of like that person who finds a lump somewhere in their body and they're afraid to go to the doctor because they don't want to hear that it could be cancer. Like, I get that. Like, you don't want to be diagnosed with having a true problem. But it's kind of one of those things that we think in our minds that we can control, but we can't. And that's why we need to get professional help. And I have seen it one too many times that young girls especially wait too long to let their mom know that they have a problem or let their doctor know that they have a problem, and then they end up having to be hospitalized, and it can really get so much worse. And the issue is And what's to blame is that you could have asked for help sooner than later and probably prevented a lot of the problems that now that you have to deal with. So my advice is anything related to an eating disorder. I don't have any direct experience with it to share with you, other than my advice is don't be afraid to talk to your mom. It is a serious issue that affects so many young girls based on the society that we live in today. Social media just makes it 10 times worse. We're all comparing ourselves to other women, other girls' bodies. And not only that, it's like I said, it's like a disease. Sometimes it's something that you can't control without medical intervention. So please, definitely don't be afraid. Your mom will understand and she will appreciate the fact that you've brought it to her attention before it's too late. So hope that helps you. Thank you for that question. Okay, here's this question. Do you have any advice for keeping up with school or for staying motivated? Since summer is over, it's been extra hard to get back into the school mode. My brain still thinks it's on summer break sometimes. I think what works for me, and I try to tell my kids to do this all the time, and of course they look at me like I'm crazy, but as I've gotten older and when I was in college and that sort of thing, what works for me in terms of staying motivated and staying on tasks is creating a checklist. I love to take either my planner or like a notepad and I'll draw like little squares. Actually, my planner has little squares. That's why I love my planner so much. You know, you could even just draw the little squares and you have your list. And if you can kind of even keep it in like a timeline where you're like, okay, these are the things I have to do in the morning. These are the things I have to do in the afternoon. These are the things I have to do maybe after dinner as homework. And just keep your goal, keep your focus on checking off all those boxes before the end of the day or the end of the week or whatever kind of checklist system you want to use. I do my checklist system weekly, and then if I have anything that specifically I need to get done on that particular day, then I'll write it in on my planner on that day. But I feel like if you write things down, even though it takes a little bit more time out of your day, sometimes can be a pain, and then it can be overwhelming because you're like, oh my gosh, I have so much stuff to do. How am I possibly going to get all this done? It just helps because your brain, it's like you know that list is there. So instead of like getting on TikTok and wasting time browsing through the For You page for the next 30 minutes, you're gonna think, oh gosh, I still have, 6 more things on my checklist that I need to get done today. Also, just staying off your phone. I think our phones are our biggest distraction. Try to maybe just listen to music or something instead, so you're not like looking to be entertained by scrolling through Instagram or listening to YouTube videos or getting on TikTok, whatever or Snapchat or whatever you get on. I think it would help to maybe just have music or something playing instead to entertain you while you're getting your schoolwork done. So hopefully that helps you. Thank you for that question. Okay, next question is, can I have some advice? I was wondering if you could give any good advice about long distance dating in college to make it work. I don't really have any experience with this, so I really can't give like specific examples. But if you were my kid and you were looking for some advice, I would say make sure you're making yourself a priority first and you're making yourself happy, and then you're making your significant other happy second. I think when you're younger and you're growing up, you're going through those college years and you're looking for, how to find that balance between I need to live my life, I need to do well in college, maybe you have a job and your significant other has those same things. If you're both happy separately, then you'll find ways to be happy with your moments together through FaceTime, texting, whatever. But if you're just gonna like go throughout your day completely miserable because you miss each other, you haven't seen each other in months, it's gonna be 6 weeks before you get to see each other again. Like, it's just gonna all around be, you're just gonna bring each other more down. And I feel like college years, even though I didn't go away to college and I didn't go through the whole 4 years of college, I stayed local and I only went to college for 3.5 years and did not finish. Another whole story that I have shared before. I don't know, I just feel like it's such a short time frame of your life that should be a lot of fun, but yet it's also going to be a lot of hard work because you are in college. You just need to be happy. Make sure you're making yourself a priority and you're happy first. And I feel like if you really want to make the relationship work, you can make it work. I think just making sure you're on the same page and making sure you're both making your own happiness a priority. Next question, advice on growing up. I am 21 and a senior in college. I have a hard time with growing up and I'm nervous for the future. This is definitely a conversation that I've had with my own kids before, and I think some parents probably may agree with this theory, but then you may actually have some parents that don't agree with this. So take my answer with a grain of salt, like it might not be everybody's cup of tea, but my thought is the kids these days at 21 years old put so much pressure on themselves to have their whole life figured out. They think they need to know where they're gonna work, who they're gonna date, where they're gonna live, when they're gonna have children. Like, they just think like we're 21, we're an adult now, we need to have it all figured out. So at 21 years old, yes, it is time for you to put on your big girl pants or your big boy pants and be more mature and be more responsible. You know, and you might have bills to pay, you might be looking to move out, get your own place. Like, yes, it is time to like grow up and be mature, but you don't have to have everything figured out all at once. And the one thing that I have always told my kids is, as long as you're doing something, you're making progress. And I also want to mention that you said you're a senior in college. It's kind of like what I already said. You're probably putting all this pressure on yourself of like, where do I want to get a job? What do I want to be when I grow up? Now I have this college degree. What am I going to do with it? Chances are, whatever you went to college for and got a degree in, let's just say it's like engineering. You may go out when you graduate and get a job in engineering, but 10, 15, 20 years from now, my bet would be you're gonna end up doing something completely different. You're gonna end up being in like management or something like that. Like, don't just think that you're, just because of what you went to college for, that's the track you need to stay on. It's a good start because you did something, so you succeeded, but it doesn't mean that you like have to be on that path for the rest of your life. It's just your beginning. You don't know what's going to happen for the next 10, 15, 20 years. And that's okay. You just take things as they come. Hey, hi Candy. I've had that guy best friend that felt something about me, but he never said that. He always flirts, but then after being best friends for 3 years now, I felt something for him. And when he knew, he said we're just friends. I'm so confused. I really don't want to lose him, but things aren't the best and he's pushing me away. What do I do? I think it sounds like one of those situations where maybe he did think he wanted a relationship with you at one time, and maybe now he's changed his mind. Maybe he decided that your friendship is more important than the idea of you dating. I mean, you said 3 years went by. You've been friends for 3 years. 3 years is a long time. You guys probably really know each other really, really, really well. And he probably more loves you like a sister and maybe doesn't have those like romantic feelings towards you anymore. And the fact that you said like he's flirted and, you know, you've probably flirted back, I think that's pretty normal. Like, I don't know. I feel like even people, I can remember back when the job that I worked on and when I was like in high school and college, we all were kind of flirty with each other. And I even had a boyfriend at the time. So it's like, I just think that, I don't know exactly how old you are, but I just have a feeling that the flirting, maybe you thought it meant more than it really did. I feel like most guys, if they really like you, you'll know it. So At this point, if the friendship's really important to you and you don't want to lose him as a friend, I think you should try to take a step back, learn to be just comfortable being with just friends, and if down the road it's meant to be more than friends, it will happen, regardless if you are sitting here like worrying about it and thinking about it every day. Like, I think it would be super cool if you're like best friends with someone that for 10 years and you end up falling in love and getting married, but it doesn't sound like right now is the time. Hey, seeking advice here. I'm ready to settle down and start seriously dating. I've been seeing this guy, but we aren't boyfriend-girlfriend official yet. I feel like we are good for each other, but I also feel like there isn't that spark. Should I keep seeing him, eventually start dating, and hope for a spark to develop, or do you think it isn't meant to be? Thanks. Me personally, I don't think that I would want to date somebody and like cross that line of like it's no longer a friendship, now we're like being intimate with each other, if there wasn't that spark. Like, if there isn't that spark now, there's not going to be the spark later. Like, why would you want to force yourself to like be head over heels in love with someone? And I tell all my kids this all the time, you should feel that head over heels in love feeling in the beginning for a long time. And if you don't, I wouldn't do it. Personally, I would not do it. There's nothing better than that feeling of like being so in love and being so infatuated with someone. Like, why would you want to force that? Like, you deserve to feel that. So I would move on. Okay, so I'm struggling with some boy issues because I like my best friend's brother, but he is known for having a flirty personality and just being a player. But every time I go to her house, he flirts with me, so it makes me like him, but whenever I'm not there, I get over him. So it's really impossible for me to move on from him without not being friends with my best friend anymore. So I really don't know what to do, and also she really doesn't want us to like each other, so I'm in a very awkward spot. Thanks. If it's really that important to your best friend for you to not date her brother, and you think that he's a player and he just has a flirty personality and that's why he's flirting with you to begin with, why would you want to ruin your friendship over this guy who's a player? Like, out of this whole thing you wrote, that's the bold print word to me, is player. Like, why would you lose a friend over a player? Like, don't get me wrong, at some point, a lot of players, they'll grow up and they'll grow out of it. But even then, like, is that the kind of guy you want to date? And is it worth losing your best friend over? I just see red flag here, and I would say, no, it's not worth it. Like, I don't know. I don't want to say this because it's a really bold statement. It's got to be a really, really, really perfect guy. Like, he checks all the boxes for you to lose a best friend over a guy. And I don't think this guy checks all those boxes. Okay, do you believe in the right person, wrong time? And if so, how do I know if they deserve a second chance and they're the one, or if I'm just going to get hurt and it's a mistake? Please help. That's the crazy thing about relationships. I'm not really sure the details of this relationship, like if there was a breakup, who broke up with who, why did you break up, how long did you date? I feel like I could definitely use some more information to answer this question the very best. Based off of the information you've given me, I would say you just need to ask yourself if this other person is worth the risk. Because chances are, if I was a betting person on this, a gambling man, that's what they call it. If I was a gambling man, chances are you probably will get hurt again. I feel like when couples break up and they get back together, each time the chances of you breaking up again go up. The risk is even higher. I'm not saying that it doesn't ever work, because I'm evidence that it does work. I broke up with Ken 2 different times. He was actually moved in with me, broke up, made him move out. Moved back in, broke up, made him move out. Then the 3rd time we got back together, and then we were engaged like 3 months later. So it can work, don't get me wrong. I'm just saying there's no guarantee. So I guess you just have to ask yourself, can you handle another heartbreak? Because chances are it can happen again. The relationship can fail again. And if you think you can handle it and you think that this person is worth it, give it another try. But just remember, you could even be the one who decides that that person's just not the one. I just want to know why I'm still single. I'm 21, almost 22, approaching my senior year of college that is all virtual. How am I supposed to meet someone when all classes are virtual? And not only that, why is it taking me so long to even find a relationship? My advice in this situation would be stop looking for a relationship. Stop feeling like you need a relationship to be happy. Make sure that you're not only in school, but you're like doing other things too. I get it. We're in a pandemic. It probably has a huge effect on a lot of people dating and meeting new people. You're not alone in that. But I guess you just have to find other ways. Scroll through Instagram, find people that live in your area. Go through Instagram, go through like your friends list and look at who they're friends with and see if there's people that, oh, I find this person attractive. Slide into their DMs, get to know them. Like, you have to be creative and come up with different ways of meeting new people, but get it out of your head that you're like trying to meet someone to find a relationship, because you don't need a relationship. You may want a relationship, but you don't need a relationship to be happy. Hi Candy, so I have a friend that I've been best friends with for 10 years who is really into drinking and smoking and stuff, and I am not at all. We have different ideas about those things and I don't know what to do or say to her. She won't change her ways because that is how her family is. What do I do? Very simple. Find new friends. And I know that's really tough for people to realize, but you can be friends with someone for years, but if all of a sudden their life, their decisions lead them down a different path than the path that you want to go down, you don't just follow them. You go down the path that you want to go down and make new friends. Like, that's the only way around it. How are you going to fit into a person's life that those things are a priority for them, drinking, partying, all that stuff, if you have zero interest in it? Be proud of yourself for making the decision that that's not the life that you want. Those are not the things that you want to do with your free time, and go out and make new friends that share the same interests and hobbies and stuff as you do. How do you know if a relationship is toxic or if it's time to leave or move on? I feel like I haven't ever been a priority in my boyfriend's life and it keeps getting worse. And he also isn't willing to limit the amount of time he's talking to his exes in front of me or in general. Is it something I'm doing? Am I being a bad girlfriend or am I just not good enough for him? I'm so confused and hurt. I can't go to my mom about it and I didn't know who to ask. All right, so outside of the fact that he talks to his exes and you're questioning whether or not you're even a good girlfriend, if he's not making you a priority, I think you already have your answer. Like, I don't know why girls don't give themselves more credit. You deserve to have what you want in a relationship. And when you date someone, if you make them a top priority, then you need to make sure he's making you a top priority as well. Don't get me wrong, there are some people in relationships that are okay with, you know, maybe not being on their top 5 list of priorities. And as long as both people agree with that, that's fine. One thing of advice I always give my kids is never date somebody thinking that they're going to change. Never date them thinking they're going to stop doing something that they're already doing. Never date someone thinking that they're going to start doing something that they're not already doing. Does that make sense? So he's showing you who he is. Listen, pay attention, and if you don't like who he is, don't date him. Okay, last question. I've already started having intercourse with my boyfriend, who I've been dating for a year. About 6 months back, my mom told me to wait to have it, and I did for a bit, but I feel comfortable enough with him to do it. I'm too afraid to tell my mom. I feel like I need to tell her, but I'm scared she will flip out on me. Any advice? If you've I don't know how old you are, so that could play a little bit of a factor in this, but I'm assuming you're in high school. I always have this theory, this idea, if you think you're old enough to have sex, then you're old enough to face all the responsibilities that come along with it. Like, I hope you're using birth control. And I would hope that you could talk to your mom about it if the situation presents itself. I think that there's probably a lot of high school kids that probably never have the conversation with their parents about sex, and I think that's okay. I think every family dynamic's different. Like, you can't I'm not going to assume that every family in the world ages 14 to 19 is having these conversations with their kids, because I don't think that's reality. But I just think that, as I said, if the situation presents itself, and for you it did, your mom came to you, wanted to talk to you about sex, that means she's open to the idea of it one way or the other, whether the answer was yes, I'm having sex, or no, I'm not. I think you need to be honest with her and tell her. I just think that if she put her right foot forward and tried to communicate with you about this topic and you shut it down, that you need to go back and talk to your mom and let her know. And basically, I would just say, remember 6 months ago when you asked me that question, blah, 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 blah. Well, ask me that question again. She'll ask you, and then you just tell her. And it kind of is what it is. You made it where it's kind of like, what's that saying? You made your bed, now you gotta lay in it, or whatever that figure of speech is. Maybe that's not the right one, but I just feel like that's the thing with me when it comes to sex, is if you're old enough to do it, if you think you're old enough to do it, you're old enough to deal with all the consequences that come with it. You better be old enough to get on birth control. You better be old enough to be able to communicate with the person that you're dating about birth control. And if your parents are open to it, you better be willing to discuss it with them. So, all right, guys, I actually did have a few more questions, but I have a feeling that this video is already going to be extremely long. And like I said, I have more questions, so I'll just have to save some of these for the next video. I want to wait and get your guys' response, see if there's even interest in me doing these videos. I think it's great that I got so many questions. Like I said, a lot of people, if they were quick and shorter answers, I was responding to them just through Instagram. But the questions that I thought that would be helpful to other people are ones that I chose to share in this video. So let me know what you guys think. Let me know if you're looking forward to the next video where I answer some more of the more adult questions, if that's what you want to call them. And just, I appreciate it. I appreciate you guys even giving me the time and listening to my answers. Hopefully I helped some of you guys. Thank you so much for watching and listening today, and I will see you guys next time. Bye.